Andrea here with Coughtry Enterprises.
Jamie here from Auto Enhance.
And today we are going to take a little break from tactical, typical business brain dump ideas and talk a little more about health and wellness. It's really this craze that is sweeping the entrepreneurial high level CEOs, high level execs, and you're starting to hear more and more about health, wellness, that's mental, physical. And I thought it would be kind of fun if we shared some of our success stories and how we got into that. And then I think we have a few examples of other people kind of diving into that.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how the world has changed. You know, when we think about these top CEOs and stuff, we're thinking of guys in their business suit and they're, hiring, firing people, taking these bold actions, or even some of these tech CEOs when they got started, they're these nerdy guys that are running businesses, not the sort of people you think who are into their fitness and their health.
Yeah.
And it must be the last 5-10 years or something has shifted towards this. But you've got quite an interesting setup, right? You've got a PT or something.
Mm-hmm.
What's
Well,
your
part of the health and
go-to?
wellness,
Yeah.
I was trying to take this turmeric shot.
Yeah,
And
looking
it's a
like you
little
could handle
spicy.
it.
It's a little spicy. So yeah, I started training with a private trainer back in 2018. And I'm with her 2 days a week, every day. She's become a great friend, a therapist, a client. I mean, at this point, I've sold her a home, leased her a home, sold her land, went through new construction with them, sold houses for their family and parents. They've invested in one of my large projects, 160 townhomes. So I think it's also a way you can create a community of other
Mm.
people who are trying to lead and live healthy lifestyles and create friendships around it. So the workout's only one part of it for me. And I definitely, when we talked about having this topic, I wanted to be really careful about this topic because I also have a question for you that's going to be kind of the premise of this. When you hear people. I just was at in Miami, right? And one of the what is he selling Sunset or $1 million
Mm.
something? His name's Santiago. Is on Mario Yamaski's team at the agency there in California, and he gets on stage and. First, this guy's like so handsome, so buff. He's so successful. And he's like, I wake up at 4 every morning and I cold plunge and I meditate for 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I don't touch my phone, and then I do a meaningful workout and listen to a podcast. And it's like,
He
hold on.
wants everyone to be in awe of his lifestyle. Someone else
Yeah,
who did this recently
so
was
annoying.
Ryan Serhant. Did you
Uh,
see he posted on Instagram like his daily schedule, and he wakes up at 5 a.m. in the morning, and it's exactly like that. Does a
yeah,
cold plunge, then his meetings, every meeting he has, so every half an hour of his day is blocked out having a meeting, half an hour, 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 and he goes to bed at 11 p.m. So he has 6 hours sleep, goes to the gym, does all of these meetings. Like, this guy clearly does not do that on the daily. He is not that disciplined, that strict, somehow able to sleep less than the average human and still be as successful as he is. I just don't understand it.
you would hit a wall. And
Yeah,
I want to have this health conscious conversation in like a very real
yeah, yeah.
term. What, 2, 3 podcasts ago, you and I are both like, we're in sleepy season. Like both of us are like a little more tired. We're a little more sleepy. I think you have refeed days. You have days you're not on your diet. You have
Mm.
days you don't feel like doing real estate or enhancing photos or creating companies. I think life is about progress, not about perfection. So it
Well,
really does
it's the
bother
balance,
me.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So it does bother me when people who are these massive celebrities just tell a tale that is not true. And especially, you have to look at your demographics. Who are you talking to? You're at Inman Connect. There was a girl who asked him a question. She was like, I just got my license. I just finished grad school. Like, what are your tips and takeaways? Are you telling her
Wake
to
up at
go
5
cold?
a.m.,
Yeah,
go
go
kite
cold
plunge.
plunge. You don't have the money to go cold plunge, Santiago. And there are no cold plunges near me. Like, I'm in Kentucky. There is one somewhere. I mean, it's like 35
I
minutes
feel
away from my
really
house. Yeah.
guilty
Yeah.
because I've been doing a cold plunge every day.
Have you really?
Yeah. This is this is part of my new schedule when I go to my gym. So I just joined a new gym. You came and joined me to my old one,
Mm-hmm.
and they have one of their selling points is their ice bath, which
Okay.
is zero point 0.5 degrees Celsius, which I don't even
Wow.
know what that is Fahrenheit. Ridiculously cold. You
That's
can't even
crazy.
send. You can't spend more than a minute in there. I've got to find out what Fahrenheit this is. It's not having the impact unless I find out the Fahrenheit. 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
S- Yeah,
That's the
that's
temperature. So
very
I sit
cold.
in it for a minute and then I get in the sauna. So when they first put it in, I could only last 5 seconds.
Yeah,
And then it took me about 2 weeks before I could last a minute. And then I get in the sauna afterwards and it takes me 15 minutes to actually feel the heat from the sauna after 1 minute in this ice bath.
that's
It's
crazy.
ridiculous. But that's very new to me. Not everyone has an
Yeah,
ice bath, but I thought I don't want to be hypocritical criticizing this guy
and
when
you're doing it
actually
every day.
I've been doing it.
No, but it's not about that. It's about, everyone's in a different place in their life and their lifestyles,
Yeah.
right? And some people are in areas where they don't have those types of amenities. Some people, aren't into physical fitness. Maybe they're just into internal medicine, whether that be, adaptogens and, medicine as food,
Yeah.
or food as medicine. But I just like to be realistic. And, people are, what time do you wake up? Let's start there.
Well, I'm not a great example. So I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning every day,
Okay.
but I'm in bed by about 9:30 p.m.
Yeah.
I am adamant about getting 8 hours of sleep. Again, another great book I can recommend, which is Why We Sleep by
Yeah.
I think it's Matt Walker or something like that. Once I read that book and heard about it, I was living in Australia at the time where my sleep schedule was fucked. I would be flying back and forth from Australia to the UK quite a bit and I'd be jet lagged. It would take me so long to get back to normal. And I was having 5, 6 coffees a day. And was this number six?
No, number two.
And yeah, that book was just talking about the impact of caffeine. And I was like, wow. So I started limiting my caffeine and then I was able to sleep better. So, what I was interested in getting into this topic about is you were saying you started doing your PT in 2018. When did you realize that actually you need to start looking after yourself? Like when I started, finishing school and working on my business, I started pretty young, but I never really had that kind of Monday to Friday schedule. When I started, it was Monday to Sunday, working late into the evening. I never really built structure around it. It took me a few years to start working out that I need to take a break at the weekend. I need to use the weekend to recharge so I can perform better Monday to Friday. And that was my kind of first step towards this wellness or balance, to be better at producing on the day to day. So,
For
yeah, for
me,
you,
I grew up in very rural Eastern Kentucky, and there was no fitness. There was no food as medicine. It was okay. Remember the restaurant you went to with me, and macaroni and cheese was listed as one of the
Ramses.
vegetables?
Oh, yeah.
Like
That's
that's what I
incredible.
grew up with. Like it
Yeah.
was not, if I had a salad, it was, covered in ranch dressing. So I think the first thing that happened to me is I really struggled from like heavy fatigue. I couldn't sleep. I always had cystic hormonal acne, like severe, like that even Accutane couldn't control.
Wow.
So I realized I'm like, something has to change. I don't feel good. No matter
Mm.
how hard I was working out, not that I didn't look good, and it wasn't like a body dysmorphia thing. I was bloated and inflamed, and I just didn't feel good. So the first switch for me was really food as medicine. And, I tried a bunch of different things, like just different fitness challenges where the food was, macros, and you tried like eating small meals every 2 hours and this and that. And finally, I just switched everything. I was like, I want to intuitively eat. I want to eat when I'm hungry, not eat past being over full. And I wanted to have more liquid as far as like vitamin C, turmeric, adaptogens. And when I started doing that, which was probably like 2019,
Oh,
everything
so
changed
fairly
for me.
recently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything changed for me. I don't break out. I mean, my acne was gone. And I do a lot of heavy treatments. I spend a lot of money at the spa on that, which is
Mm.
part of my self love, self care. But honestly, like, I feel when I am eating right, I feel so good.
Yeah.
I need to move my body because I'm a very stressed person. So, too much caffeine is not good for me, but I do love caffeine. But if I wake up and I move my body, I can perform better in the rest of my life. And
Mm.
your workouts are way more hardcore than mine. Like, my Tuesday, Thursday PT with my trainer is the hardest workouts that I do. The rest of the day, the rest of like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I wake up at 6. I work out in my gym before I wake my son up for school. And they're not hardcore. They're not. I used to push my body and I was inflamed. I was
Yeah.
working out too much,
Yeah.
too hard, and I have a lot of mental stress, and so do you. So the combination of the hard workouts, not consistent with food, and then overworking out and the mental stress was just, my body was just exhausted in all facets, all realms, just exhausted.
I think that's a really key point though, because if you're trying to do something consistently, it needs to be something that you can keep up.
Yeah.
And so many people are amazed by these fad diets and fad workouts. I think there's this big craze that's going over the world called like 70 hard or something. Have you heard about this?
75 strong, yes, and it's
75
crazy.
strong. And it's
Yeah.
ridiculous because, sure, you could complete it. And yes, you will benefit greatly from it, but you're breaking these routines that you've been doing for years. And once you finished it, you're just going to go straight back to where you were.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important with all of these things is to do something that you can maintain, something that you
Yeah.
can do consistently. And I've experimented with loads of different things. From a young age, I was always into sports. I never was a kind of like sporty person, but I was a big guy when I was younger. So being able to play rugby in the UK, that's a very typical thing. Never the best, never the worst, but it was always something that I enjoyed doing. So I always enjoyed that aspect of sports. And when I was doing business, it was a distraction. I was when I started, finishing school, I was doing my business, and then I could go and play rugby at the weekend or whatever. So it was my persona wasn't just the business I was working on. I had hobbies, I had friends from that, and it was giving me more to life, more balance to life, which I found
It was
really
a
valuable.
community, right? It's
Exactly.
like it's a community of people who have
Yeah.
some similarities together, which is amazing.
Yeah. But something I realized, when I was playing rugby at a young age is it is a contact sport.
Yeah.
We did lots of training during the week, and then at the weekend we'd play the game. And I was always in pain. My lower back was in pain, and I was, young age from that. So I just knew that that wasn't something I could maintain going forward. So when I
Yeah.
lived in Singapore when I was 19, I started moving to touch rugby. So that gave me, I was like, I still enjoy playing rugby, but not as much contact. Ironically, when I was playing touch rugby in Australia, I ended up in hospital, but that ended it all for me. I was like, I'm running a business now. I need to be, if I end up in hospital, that's going to damage my business. So I stepped
Yeah.
away from those sort of sports and started to look at something else. And during this whole time, I was always doing workouts at the gym. I really enjoyed the discipline and the mental wellness of all these exercises. It was a routine. You're coming back doing different workouts, legs, arms, chest, whatever. So I really enjoyed that discipline, but it's you're in charge of your own workout.
Yeah.
And when you're the one who is in charge of your own business and then your own workout, it's just so easy to go into the gym and just be like, I'm not really going to do anything today. I'm just going to take it
Yeah.
easy. I just want to relax. So it took me a while to be convinced of doing team workouts or class workouts, which is when I started doing F45, which is that a big thing in America, F45?
I'm not familiar
Not heard
with
of
it.
it.
So, but
So
maybe it's
that's
just not in Kentucky. We're not the first to adapt to new workouts.
Yeah, well, I think this is actually an Australian company
Okay.
that built this functional 45-minute workouts, which is all like HIIT training, cardio
Yeah.
based. And I was really anti it. I was like, no, this isn't me. I've always done my own workouts. I don't want to go to this class and join in. But they had a free class for a week in London, in Oxford Street. It was actually Soho. And I went for that week and I was like, this is amazing. It's
Okay.
something I've realized about myself is that I am ridiculously competitive. So a class workout is fantastic because I'm with
Yeah.
a whole bunch of other people. And if I work harder than them and I push harder than them, I could beat them. And that
Yeah.
was my ambition every morning. And that was the routine. I came to these workouts. I didn't need to think about what I was doing and I got a workout in. So I
And
think
now
that
you have the
was
sauna and the cold plunge with it.
well. This is CrossFit now. Yeah. So
Oh, okay, okay.
that was functional, and then I went on to the CrossFit training, which you came and joined me with,
Yeah. And
and
I can do it. Like I hung in there really well, I felt
you
like.
smashed it. Yeah.
Yeah. But
It's
for
you were
me,
saying
the
about
day
it
to day is
being
different.
yeah,
I
you were saying
don't,
about it being demanding, but
yeah.
I think once you get the routine, it just becomes something you do. It's
Yeah.
not that impactful. You're not limping for the next few days.
Joe Rogan, he mentions, and I've heard him say this several times, that he kills himself in the gym first thing because that makes everything else he does
Yeah,
the rest of the day easy. So
yeah,
even when I'm
that's my
good now to
mentality.
listen to my body and say, hey, this week, last week, they've been extra demanding on me emotionally, mentally, and I will lay off in the gym that week. I will still go even if it's just fasted cardio, I will still go. But I've
Hmm.
learned now to listen to my body. Whereas before, I think that's how I ended up in the boot. My foot hurt, and I'm like, oh, you're just
Hmm.
being a baby, keep
Just
going,
keep going
push
for
through
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you're like, well, it's about everything. Wow, I really want this ice cream, but is it mentally that you want the ice cream, or do you physically, are you hungry? And
Yeah.
then, learning to eat when you're hungry, not just on the schedule. I think learning internally to listen to my body has really helped me get in a happier, better place to where I don't feel like I'm killing myself. Let's give
Yeah.
like a run over of like what is your schedule like a very realistic schedule for me is I normally wake up between 6:30 and Monday, Wednesday, Fridays I do like 30-45 minute workout at the house. I used to do an hour, but I've gotten busier and I still take Leighton to school, which is a priority for me emotionally.
Yeah.
So I know that when I was waking up at 5, my body wasn't happy. I didn't feel
Hmm.
good. I can't go to bed at 9. We're not home from soccer sometimes until 10:30.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to bed sometimes until, 10:30, 11 o'clock. And on the weekends, we stay up. So,
Hmm.
for me, I getting up at 6 is the absolute earliest that my body can function. So I'm doing like 30-45 minute workouts Monday, Wednesday, Friday here. Tuesday, Thursdays, I work out with my trainer after I take Leighton to school. I implement a lot of food things. Like my lunch is normally liquid, but it's like adaptogen lattes because I'm so busy. I'm so on the go. I want like sustained energy. I need my adaptogens and herbs. So like miso broths, like these protein shakes with ashwagandha and maca. And I get crazy with like my apple cider vinegar and turmeric and ginger shots. And like I feel the best in
Do you feel
that.
stressed if you don't have them? Is that what you're saying? You have to
No,
have them all set up?
no, but it's a lot of honestly planning because if I don't
Yeah.
prep whatever it is the night before, if I fail to plan, I'm planning to fail because my
Mm.
days are so busy and so jam packed that if my dinner's not in the crock pot, we're eating out. If my broth is not prepped the night before, I'm going to have to find something at the office.
Yeah.
So, I think for me, it's just about planning. And I've noticed when I would take like super healthy lunches, I would get so busy and run out and forget, or be in front of agents or something and not be able to like eat. I felt rude.
Mm.
So the
The
miso
liquid
broths
lunch
and the
is
adaptogen
the
lattes, and I feel good. Food
yeah.
can, like, I love, and then I'm like so excited for my big delicious dinner and my protein ice cream and whatever else I'm doing after.
Yeah, I see these all on your Instagram, all these
Yeah.
little desserts that you make, these high protein desserts. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, God, wish I could get some of those.
They're so
So next
good.
time I'm at yours, I'm going to try all of these out.
We'll
We're
do
going
it.
to
You tried
go
my
for
nut
it.
milk. You tried
I
my homemade
did.
nut
I
milk.
did.
Yeah.
That was, yeah, you got this weird machine where you can turn the nuts into milk. That's
Almond cow.
incredible. Yeah. Yeah, so your routine then, so Monday to Friday is pretty much the same. Then Saturday, Sunday, you're off, right?
Like for example, normally I am, but
Yeah.
what I love is if I have an extra demanding day, I'll listen to my body and I'll pick up Saturday, Sunday. Like today's Saturday, I woke up, went downstairs, did 45 minutes of fasted cardio on incline, then took a steam shower,
Wow.
and then had
Okay, you don't have an ice bath, but you got a steam shower. That's
my turmeric shot, and
yeah,
then I'm sipping on some black coffee, and I'm here with you. So yeah, I mean, I just try to listen to my body, and I was traveling this week, so there was a day I didn't get, so I did fasted.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think from my side, I am a stickler for routine. So
Yeah.
my life is just always on autopilot, and I get pretty I get pretty annoying to be around if I don't stick to my routine. So I wake up in the morning 6 o'clock on the dot, and I go to the gym Monday to Thursday. So as I mentioned earlier, I do CrossFit, which is um, the second worst thing to announce yourself of. I think people who introduce themselves as vegans, crossfitters, or runners, and unfortunately, I'm two of those, and it's not vegan. So, so I'm a crossfitter, which a lot of people will hate. And so I get to my class for 7:15, so it's an hour's class, and it's pretty full on. You know, we're doing either some heavy weightlifting, we're doing some crazy workouts for 15, 20 minutes. It is a blitz. And if you're not ready for it, it can really take you by surprise. So if I haven't done it in a while, I'll do like maybe 2, 3 classes a week. But I like to do Monday to Thursday classes. And because I'm uh, also competitive, I've signed up for this thing called High Rocks, which is a lot of running. So my weekends are running. Saturday, Sunday are running. So that's on the fitness side, and then I'm in the office around 8:30. First call is at 9:30, and away we go. So luckily, my day is pretty unstructured. Like you've got a kid, you've got to put food together, which is a lot of extra admin. I'm lucky, like Sarah, my girlfriend, always puts together great meals. So lunch is usually taken care of, dinner as
That's
well.
fantastic.
So my life is pretty autopilot during the day. It's
Yeah.
very flexible. You know, I've got some calls that are repetitive every week or every day, and then the other ones are just kind of pop up during the week.
Yep.
Um, yeah, and then Saturday is my long run or long cycle. I like to do 15 kilometers. I don't know what that is in miles. what's that, like 8 miles or something like that. So good.
But I love seeing the different lifestyles. For me, like we're getting ready to leave to go to soccer, right? So it's just a balance of where you are in your life is extremely different. He's got his permit. He's going to be driving soon. So that's going to
Yeah.
free up a ton of my time,
Well, you're going
and
to
my
have a taxi
mornings will look
service.
different. I know. Yeah. My mornings will look different. And then, of course, when he's off to college, I don't know what I'll do with myself. Can't even think about
Yeah.
that. Um, but it's just, and Brendan lives a similar lifestyle as you. Normally, his broths or his lunches, always his dinners. Like, I take care of all that. So I think, and some guys do that. Like, I have girlfriends who they don't cook at all, their guys do it. But, there is normally one person kind of helping a little more with that. So now your challenge is to make more beef Wellington during the week.
Well, that's it, right? I'll do the specialty dishes. I'll do the
Yeah.
steaks. I've got this really good chicken pasta as well. So there is the balance there. But yeah, with the diet as well, like I've experimented with so many different things as well. So last year I was 95 kilos, which is, what's that, like over 200 pounds initially at
I
the
think
start of the
so.
year. And so I
Yeah.
cut down massively. I lost like 30 pounds over 6 months for this competition.
Wow.
And by doing that, I was following, it would have been very easy to do a month of cutting out carbs or eating as little as possible. But for me, it was just incrementally decreasing it so it was sustainable.
Yeah.
And it meant that I wasn't rushing it. I wasn't trying to get down there in a month. It took 6 months. It took more than 6 months in the end. So I think for a lot of people that are maybe looking to make that shift, they're thinking, how do I get there as quickly as possible? When really you should be thinking, like, how do I get there as sustainably
As
as
possible.
possible?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then maintain it as well. So even when I got down to that weight, if I just started eating like I was before, I'd shoot straight back up because
Yep.
I'm like a Labrador. I can just keep eating and eating. So
Which is funny.
to
I'm a big food person. Like I love to eat. I love my desserts. I love like my snacks. Like you and those dirty little biscuits from Fortnum Mason. Oh my God,
yeah,
those were
yeah, yeah.
so good. I have a big sweet tooth, so I think the misconception is people think that you're born this way, that you really just have always, like I go to the farmers market on Saturdays and Sundays, mainly Sundays now, but I love greens, I love vegetables, I love adaptogens, I love herbs, lattes, like all the fun things. And it didn't start that way. I grew up, like I said, rural Eastern Kentucky, eating the worst of the
Mm,
worst foods, all the trans fats and oils and all this stuff that I'm like, ooh. And that really caused a lot of health issues as far as like
yeah.
having cystic acne and
But you
a
must
lot
have
of
been so used
issues.
to it. It must have been just baked in, right? It must have been
Yeah,
so hard to make that change of, oh
extremely
yeah,
hard.
what veg are we going to have tonight? Mac and cheese. To
Yeah.
then start actually having
Yes.
some greens.
Yeah, like the greens are normally kilt. So like back home, you would saute your greens and you would kilt it with like bacon grease.
Oh my gosh. That's such a change from here.
And I
Yeah, I
just
mean,
got
I'm
back
half
from Miami.
Scottish, so we're famous for not having vegetables. So I've got a weird
Yeah.
mix of not vegetables and having some vegetables. Yeah.
I think
So in
some
Miami.
cities also support a healthier lifestyle. California, Miami, some of these places, you've got this beautiful weather almost year round. You've got the beaches, you've got
Mm,
outdoor parks, and you can walk places. And on every corner is a juice shop, an adaptogen shop. Like when we were in Miami, our lunches were so amazing, like fresh caught tuna on a bed of greens with like an organic house made,
yeah.
dressing. Like it's super
It's because
accessible in some
everyone. It's
areas.
because everyone has to be on the beach and they have to be looking amazing. This is
Yeah,
this is what I experienced in Australia as well. Like everyone just looks incredible
yeah,
and eats salads, like a few
yeah,
leaves of salads. It's just because it's all about the beach. That is the
yeah.
lifestyle out there. Yeah.
It really is. So, okay, let's give three practical takeaways of how people could incorporate healthiness into their day-to-day lives. Not, It's not about physical for me. Yes, I'd love to look good in my tight dresses and, go out in Miami and whatever. But like for me, it is 100% about how I feel. And my number one is food is medicine. And I think I- you may hate this, but I think fast food is like the devil. If I eat fast food, I crave and eat trash for 24 to 48 hours. I think it's made to be addictive. And I think
Yeah.
that you have to take time to put a little extra energy into having a crock pot or have meals at home at least 4 to 5 days a week. And if I can do it running two different businesses, full time wife, full time mother, and still have a social life, you can do it too. I think just finding practical ways to prep. You have to be prepared though to make that work.
I think it's a difficult one, that one, because obviously people are in different situations. I
Yeah.
think there are actually ways to eat healthily from fast food. I've seen people do it. You
Yeah.
just need to be conscious about what you're
Yeah.
ordering, what you're putting into your body. I think it's the most important part is why, right? Like,
Yeah.
why even bother about this? Do you want to be successful? Do you want to have a balanced life? Do you want to feel less stress? Do you want to be able to, in the future, be able to pick up your children because you're
Yeah.
physically able to do that? I think that is something that you need to start with. That needs to be your drive to do anything, eat healthily, work out. Um, it's not about, oh, I'm pissed off today, or I want to look skinnier. It's
Yeah.
20 years from now, do I still want to have an amazing life? Do I want to be able to feel like I can jump and run around? I think that, for me personally, that's something that drives me thinking about the future.
Yeah. I work out for today, not for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Actually, like I've realized that my personality, if I don't get it all out, probably similar to how Joe Rogan feels and does, I
Yeah.
carry that extra just aggressiveness throughout my day. Whereas
Yeah.
if I go, even if it's just fasted cardio on incline, but if I sweat in the morning and I work out, and the harder the workout, honestly, the better the rest of my day goes because I got that mental kind of stress and aggression out. And there's
Yeah.
honestly a little bit less of me. And so I can be more calm.
Well, it's
That
probably the
would,
routine as well. It's like
yeah.
the military. They make you make your bed every morning
Oh, I make my
because,
bed every single morning.
yeah, because if you can't get your bed made, how are you going to get anything else done?
Yeah.
And I think I'm exactly like that as well. It's like something is missing from my day if I haven't done that workout that I usually do, and it just kind of tips me off. It's my hour of time where I'm not thinking about work. It's something that gets me excited and focused towards something else. Yeah. Something else that I personally like, which isn't for everyone, is also setting the goals.
Yeah.
So I've always been terrible at running, and last year I started running, and I thought I'm going to do a 10K. I'm going to, go for it, have some fun, and by knowing that I was going to do this 10K in June, it kept me accountable. It
Yep.
meant that I would go out and do the running and keep focused on it. And it was something so separate from running my business that it was a release for me as well.
Yeah.
And it gave me that time to actually start thinking about other things that were important. And I think that is maybe not for everyone, but having a way to keep yourself accountable is really important. So I've got this high rocks competition, which is a week today, and that has kept me disciplined. It's kept me away from eating pizzas and going for
Which is
alcohol.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I know that I've got a week in Italy after that, so I can just have all the Aperol spritz and pizzas I want. But
Well, I'm
it's
looking forward to
allowed me to
hearing the
push.
follow up from that, how Italy goes. And
Yeah. Yeah, this is my second time doing the high rocks, so let's see how we how we go. Last one, I was way too optimistic. I thought I would smash it, but there's pictures from me about 45 minutes in, and my face is just grey.
you're
And
like, I'm done.
yeah, I just remember the experience of doing it. I hit the halfway point, and I was like, I'm only halfway. I need to I need to double this up. This is ridiculous. So yeah, let's see how we go next week,
Yeah.
and then we can update on the podcast after that.
I can't wait to
Um,
hear how you did, how it goes. And if anyone has any takeaways, things they think we should try, what works for them, I think we both just try to take a pretty balanced approach to
yeah,
how we are and listen to your body.
yeah, and also other people's routines, anything that you've learned along the way as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Be so curious.
Help us watch out for the pitfalls.
Exactly.
As always,
Fantastic.
Andrea Coughtry, thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. I hope this was a refreshing break from just talking about our businesses and things that you can do tactfully to make your business better. And hopefully, there's something that you can take away that was a positive.
Yeah, yeah, and also hearing our stories as well, and if that is helpful for you as well. But yeah, give us a review on the podcast channel you're
Yeah,
on.
definitely.
Send us an email at businessbraindump@gmail.com. We've got
Oh, we
all
do
these
have an email
channels now.
now.
Yeah. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
See you next time.
Cheers. Bye.